I'm having a little bit of a problem right now. I don't remember what caused it, but I'm in full Five Nights at Freddy's mode right now. I've been replaying 1 and 2, rewatching all of Markiplier's old videos, going through all of Astral Spiff's challenges, looking at old art I used to save on my iPad, talking to every single person I can bother. I feel like I'm gonna freak out if I don't make a video about it. Does anyone else go through these weird phases where you just get so fixated on something for maybe weeks at a time? You spend hours every day thinking about it, and then for 3 months later, you don't think about it ever? Is that just me? I might just be crazy, but anyways, when Five Nights at Freddy's released in 2014, I was 11 years old and enjoying my summer on the computer watching YouTubers. It was history made after Markiplier uploaded that first video for the world and for me. FNAF 1 is my second favorite game in the series, but atmosphere-wise, I honestly think it might be the first. This game is so unique, and you can't even deny that, even if you don't like it. Scott Cawthon took a concept that initially didn't have a lot of fear around it and made it scary. Animatronics before FNAF were somewhat creepy, yeah, a little off-putting depending on where you were going to see them, but they weren't this big thing. When I think of creepier animatronics, I think of the different Chuck E. Cheese stages. I grew up with the 2 stage, which I feel looks relatively normal. The animatronics are a little square and Minecrafty. Editor here with secret Chuck E. Cheese knowledge. Chucky is by himself actually on the stage, so they can pull a curtain around him at the end of every hour for his mascot show. It's not really shown in these pictures, but I found a single one that kind of represents what my location looked like. Unfortunately, not with us anymore, but you can enjoy it in photos, hey? If you grew up with the 3 stage, you can tell these things were reskinned. I don't like them. We can go back even further into the early 80s and look at something like Uncle Clunk, who I don't even know how he passed any testing. Did children react positively to this? Were kids excited? I'm not excited. I hate this. But they did, they did actually used to dress him up as Santa though, which I think is really funny. I really like watching Uncle Clunk Santa. Have I ever mentioned I love animatronics? Because I think they're so cool. I probably didn't need to go on that whole tangent, so sorry. Anyways, yeah, so animatronics have always been a little odd, but FNAF took that to a whole nother level. The best thing FNAF 1 does is capture that. They aren't in pristine condition like the toys, and they move with simple, repetitive behaviors that mimic what you'd see if you went to a Chuck E. Cheese. Then there's the way the animatronics don't move when the camera's on them, waiting for you to look away, how they strangely look alive when they stare at you. And Foxy running toward the office still gets me when I catch it on camera. It being the one instance where one of them is seen moving is what makes it so effective. I love FNAF 1 so much. It's easily in my top 10 horror favorites. It's a genius concept perfected in this format. But I did say it was my second favorite in the series. Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is my real favorite. Between them, it's close, yet I can't help but love what FNAF 2 does. This one released just 3 months after the first with double the animatronics and no doors. The no doors thing doesn't make any sense practically, it makes the pizzeria look kind of stupid. Half of the building is hallways. If you're going into one of the party rooms, you have a direct view of the office on your way. Imagine going to a Chuck E. Cheese and there's a random hallway with a giant office at the end, like some weird reception area at the end of the building. This isn't about the layout though. It can look as dumb as it wants because I love this game. First off, let's talk about character design. The toys are so cute. I love their squeaky clean polished looks to contrast the older animatronics being completely destroyed. Their appearance also helped create the impression that the sequel was an actual sequel instead of a prequel. I think having that contrast between the new and the old animatronics helps kind of cover two types of fear. One is a brand new, shiny, polished thing attacking you, and the other is kind of what FNAF 4 went for, with these scary big monsters coming at you. Toy Bonnie's personally my favorite animatronic. As a kid, I think this was because he wasn't that intimidating. He looks like the type of thing I would have loved a lot. Now that I'm older, I just have a weird attachment. Toys in general are my favorite grouping of the trio's different designs over the years. They don't scream danger at all, which makes them more threatening to me. It fits well with the idea that they've got security systems inside of them, cute, freaky monsters scanning you to see if you're a criminal. No one would suspect they're being scanned or that their life is in danger based on the appearance. Something else I love about the toys is how they change during the night. Toy Chica losing her beak is the most noticeable. It's a little touch to help them look a little more intimidating. Mangle is another great design. He or she, depending on how you know it, them, I don't know, is always my biggest worry in game. The broken down appearance but sleek exterior, a semblance of what the thing used to be, adds a unique form of terror. That sound Mangle emits adds even more intensity to the situation. If you don't know, the way to avoid Mangle killing you is to put the mask on until the static sound disappears. What happens to me is I go too quickly and open my camera. Mangle doesn't automatically jump scare you though. The animatronic hangs on the ceiling and just stares. From that point on, it's a waiting game. There's also the puppet, who introduces a brand new mechanic to the game, the music box. This is the big reason you have to check the cameras at night. The sound is repetitive enough that I can hear it in my head thinking about it, but not annoying enough where I start loathing it by the end of the night. Something less known about the puppet is that you can actually see her moving once the music box stops. This is done in a series of fading images through the cameras. Seeing her slowly rise from her box is uncanny and makes you feel pretty stupid for letting that music stop. Her appearance is as unsettling as her mechanics, the long limbs, the forever smiling face. This has got to be the most unrealistic creation in FNAF 2, maybe in the game as a whole. No kid would be entertained by this. You show this to a group of kids and they're getting nightmares. The puppet and Mangle each have unique mechanics, and that goes for a few other animatronics too. Balloon Boys is the most insane of them, in my opinion. Nobody likes this kid. I hate this kid. Still, you gotta admire the new challenge he brings. An animatronic that doesn't kill you but screws you over so tremendously. All you can do is sit there waiting to die, and he sticks around in the vents forever too. It's like an eternity before he disappears. Balloon Boy ended so many of my runs. At least 8 of my runs were ended because of this stupid kid. Night 6 is a nightmare with him. I hate him so much, and I'm so glad this mechanic. I don't think this mechanic ever came back in a FNAF game, and thank God for that. Thank God. Anyways, Golden Freddy has got an updated look in this with his own mechanic too. He's now not just a random chance like in FNAF 1. I actually think this is a bit of a downgrade from the first game. The first one looks more unsettling due to the shadows that hide the hollowness of its eyes and the complete slack appearance. Golden Freddy in FNAF 2 looks more alive with a raised head and a more visible body. It may also give the impression that this Freddy is a real thing, while in FNAF 1 it was a hallucination. Phone Guy makes this clear in his Night 6 phone call where he states that someone used the Golden Freddy suit to do something, and now all the animatronics are messed up. Gotta love the lore drop here. FNAF 2 gave lore relevance to Golden Freddy because it's the best game. Anyway, another aspect of FNAF 2 I love is the minigame system. This was the first game to lessen the pain of losing a little bit. There was a chance you got to play a cool little minigame with lore attached. But in my experience, at least on PC, it took 15 deaths to get a single minigame. And I was really upset because I was streaming to my friend and I wanted to show him the minigames and it just wasn't happening until I was like way too irritated to do it. But no, it's fine. They started happening more after I got the first one, so I don't know if that was like a thing. But I think it's a 1 in 10 chance. I actually used to be terrified of the purple guy sprite that unmovingly came at you. Unironically, that's probably what scared me most about this game as a kid. FNAF 2's creation of Purple Guy makes it an absolute staple in the series. He's mentioned in every single FNAF game afterward. This guy was the backbone of so much of the fandom, you would see him everywhere. I can't believe Scott made him British. These minigames really got the cogs turning for people. Scott saw people curious about the backstory of the pizzeria and decided to triple down on its lore. And now here we are, over 10 years later, still trying to figure out what was going on. That's something else that's great about FNAF 2. While it's not straightforward because the series never can be, it sets certain understandable ideas in your head. There's no 40 night guards with alternative names. Oh, but some characters have different names than their actual name, and there's 500 animatronics, each with unique lore that ties to the main plot, and the murderer is British in the box? No. Man kills child outside of pizzeria, child becomes puppet, man kills 4 more kids in Golden Freddy suit, puppet gives them the gift of life. There was some more to it, but I'm not getting into that. It was specific enough that the general crowd could understand it, and they could conclude on that. You know what happened. But vague enough that theorists could actually really go off that, like MatPat, for instance, who I'm shocked is still not going to this day. Besides the secret minigames, you get to see a handful of secret characters. Shadow Bonnie, Shadow Freddy, JJ, the exoskeleton, the puppet thingies. It encourages you to explore through the cameras. Shadow Bonnie can crash your game, by the way. I didn't know this until I looked it up. That sucks so bad. Imagine getting that on 1020 mode. Gameplay-wise, I feel like there's more skill involved rather than luck, but this is debatable. Everyone has a different opinion on what luck means in FNAF and which games rely most on it. I personally feel that FNAF 2 is one of the lighter RNG games, but I haven't beaten 1020 mode, so who knows? That's up for you to decide for yourself. This game's also, like, harder. Okay, I played this game originally on my Switch, and I don't know if it's like an updated version or if I just suck, but I found it way harder on Steam. Way harder. I died so many times, it was embarrassing. And I don't know, maybe I just had like my 17-year-old me had it easier in 2020 when I was playing it on Switch, but oh my God, it was so much harder on Steam. I had to be so much faster. A cute detail the game gives you for beating a challenge, including 1020 mode, is adding a plush to your desk. These are adorable and spawn tons of merch. Good marketing idea, Scott. So yeah, I love FNAF 2, and I hope this video provided some insight as to why there's so many games in the series now that I don't know if my opinion is actually popular or not. If you agree with me, that's great. If not, that's fine too. Maybe making this will help me snap out of this FNAF thing now. Alright, anyways, thanks for watching.